You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Monday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
It was one hell of a weekend, wasn't it?
Holy hell, buddy. I had so much lumber that I had to haul off my driveway this morning. It's crazy. I had one big piece of tree that fell. I came outside and it was up against the hood of my car. I'm going, oh no. No scratch. No dent, no scratch. I was like, oh my God.
We got lucky. We had our neighbor's big tree branch break and land on the car, but there was so much ice on the car that it didn't dent the car when it melted off.
It just went, whoop.
Yeah, thank God. But the one thing I was surprised at was, the storm. All that was on the news was the storm all weekend long. They didn't come up with a name for the storm.
Right. Ontario battered by ice storm, but not specifically.
Every storm always gets a name.
Right. Hurricane Andrew or Tropical Storm Debbie or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Apparently with ice storms, we're just like, it
should have been like a spring freeze.
Spring freeze?
Yeah.
That sounds like the worst spring break of all time.
It sounds like a type of Febreze, honestly. It's what it sounds
a
like.
Scented candle your girlfriend brought home from the mall.
But even I'm surprised no one on the news was like, it's ice-ageddon.
Yeah. Or again, going to the idea of naming the storm after a name, right? Frozen, we always talk about. What about Ice Storm Elsa?
An Elsa, yeah.
An Ice Storm Vanilla would have also worked.
A Van Winkle Storm. That's Vanilla Ice's last name.
I cannot believe on this day, March 31st, 2025, you just dropped Vanilla Ice's government name.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
What was your idea for the storm name?
Well, I was thinking we call it the Isaac Storm of 2025 after Sir Isaac Newton, since he kept getting hit on the head. I'm sure a lot of us did.
Is that the gravity guy?
Yeah, the gravity guy.
Very fitting with all the trees that fell.
Honestly, I saw people walking in my neighborhood, duck, dive, dip, dodging around different tree branches, so it only makes sense.
It could have been a lumberjack storm, too, if you think about it.
Oh, that would be fitting, like a plaid or something like that.
Yeah.
Get that worked into the name.
Or with all the hoarfrost going down, it could have been Whorefest.
Yeah, that would work.
I think that's what we're calling it, Whorefest 2025.
We all survived Whorefest. Congratulations, everybody.
I was curious, though, because we were talking about all the trees that fell. So apparently in Ontario, it's estimated there are over 85 billion trees. How many trees do you think got taken out this past weekend?
Oh, God. I mean, the storm was mostly just above mid-Ontario down, so cut that number in half. I would say I wouldn't be shocked to see it in the 100,000 mark.
That's what I was thinking,
Feels
too, yeah.
like that would be a safe number.
At least over 1 million branches.
Oh, God. If you get starting to count individual twigs, Ontario is covered in kindling right now.
Imagine how many birds that flew back from Florida a few weeks ago were just right pissed off this weekend.
They just flew back to Ontario from wherever they were summer
They just
wintering.
got set up. They got a new place.
Just started building that new nest, only for the ice to come in and just ruin everything.
Do you know how many male birds got beaked out this weekend? I told you we shouldn't have came back. I told you we shouldn't have came back.
I told you should have put more branches in there. The whole thing just fell
You're
apart.
just like your father. You can see how arguments went in my house, eh?
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
You know those BuzzFeed quizzes that are so much fun? Yeah, that's not what this is. It's the quiz with Brock and Dalby.
All right, for the quiz today, the theme is songs with a profession in the title. Songs with a job in the title.
Okay, like a just a gigolo kind of thing.
You know what? That would be right.
Okay.
So I will give you the artist. Just give me the job. If you can't even think of the title, the full title, just give me the job.
Okay.
So first one here, we will start with Van Halen.
Oh, hot for a teacher.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Also would have accepted Ice Cream Man.
I wish I'd gone with that. That would have been way funnier.
When I say Bob Marley, what would you say?
I shot the sheriff. Okay.
Could have said deputy as well.
That's true. Sorry, yeah, I'm classic quiz structure. I'm trying to give song titles.
No, that's all good. What about Radiohead?
Radiohead.
Don't think too hard about it.
Karma Police. Yeah!
There you go.
I was going to say, okay, computer.
3 for 3. Look at you here.
Ooh, okay.
All right, when I say Pantera, you would say? Don't think too hard
Is
about
it cowboy? Like Cowboys from Hell? Okay.
Cowboy is a job.
That's a...
Cowboy is a job.
Maybe not now. Well, I guess rodeo. Yeah.
Don't need the Cowboys coming after us.
I didn't even think about the football team.
When I say my darkest days...
My darkest days?
We used to hate this song.
Is it Porn Star Dancing? Yeah.
It is a profession.
I had a moment where I was like, can I answer this question?
It's a profession.
You're right.
People get paid for it. And finally, when I say Motley Crue, you would say? For the perfect score, by the way.
Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah.
It's a doctor. A perfectly legitimate medical professional.
I mean, I don't know if he's legit, but I wouldn't trust any of those guys.
Listen, if there's someone who knows about pharmaceuticals, they're in Motley Crue.
If there's someone who's seen a few doctors, yeah, you're probably right on that one.
I did it.
Perfect. 100% on the quiz today.
Hell yeah.
And proving why he has his job sometimes.
Every now and again.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I think I actually saw what might be the greatest insurance scam of all time, or at least insurance scam attempt over the weekend. So my neighbor had a tree that had like a big old crack in one of the branches.
You could already see she's coming down.
It's coming down at some point. And my neighbor usually parks their car pretty tight up by the house. All of a sudden, listen, I'm not trying to say anything, right? I'm not trying to snitch on nobody. But all of a sudden, that car was parked about midway down the driveway.
He moved his car down.
I'm just saying, there weren't a lot of trees up by the house, but there was one big cracked tree down where the car is
If
now.
you already had a dent on your car,
right?
Pre-ice storm, it's not a bad idea.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what? I mean, nothing wrong with their car. It's a fine car, but it's a little bit older. I bet the mileage is a little high. Let a tree take care of it.
Great weekend to get an insurance scam.
It's like when you see people have like a carport or a garage and a hailstorm comes through, and all of a sudden that SUV with the cracked windshield is parked outside uncovered. Yeah. What are you going for there? What's the hope in this situation?
So something to think about next time a storm like this comes around.
I respect it, though, because I don't think I have the balls for that sort of thing.
No.
Like, if my car had, like, dings, scrapes, scratches, or whatever, I still don't think I could put myself in a position where I'm like, well, let's see if nature finishes the job for me.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
With all the insurance claims people are filing after this weekend in Ontario, we asked you, have you ever committed insurance fraud before? And oh my God, the amount of texts and calls that we've been getting this morning is crazy.
I guess it's not that surprising that this many people have done it. It is surprising how many people are either confessing or ratting each other out.
Everybody stays anonymous here, but you have a story for us?
Well, I had a friend text me one night, told me he did it, and I said, did what? They called the police saying that their car was stolen. The police found it burnt down.
So they lied and said their car was stolen and set it on fire?
Yeah.
Who the hell are you hanging out with, brother?
Hilarious.
Did they get money for it?
They did.
Good for them, I guess.
And what are their names?
I won't say that.
This is one of the lighter stories that there's so many that we can't even air here.
That's just it. Like, we're keeping people anonymous, but some of you just straight up is too many details.
We've got, you know what? I'm not going to say your name on the phone, but do you have a story for us?
I've had insurance with the same company for about, I think, 10 or 8 years now anyways. Had winter tires, the total yearly amount, and I have never bought winter tires in my life. As long as you don't get into an accident, I guess they'll never know.
Man, you got to wonder how many people are doing that out there, actually.
I think there's a lot.
Based on the people I see driving this city, yeah, you're probably right, eh?
I mean, not all season, so it's not as bad, but...
Here come the excuses.
Oh, my God. All right, we got time for one more call here. What's your insurance fraud story?
So a family member of mine had a high-end SUV stolen at a kids' hockey tournament in Toronto.
Oh, no way.
That sucks.
Yeah, so the Toronto police told said family member, just call your insurance company, give them this report number. We're not even going to look for it because it's gone.
It's in a sea can, either on its way to the Middle East or Africa right now. So the family member's like, okay, no problem. Time to commit some insurance fraud. Brand new jacket, couple of high-end pairs of sunglasses.
Of course.
Complete hockey equipment, including skates and 2 $500 hockey sticks.
Now that's what you pay insurance for.
That's the dream, man.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, brother.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This might be the most annoying world record of all time. There is a guy in Nashville, Tennessee that is looking to break the world record for most people playing the kazoo at one time. He is looking for 5,000 people to gather in Nashville, Tennessee to all play Row, Row Your Boat to break the world record.
Listen, if no one else is willing to say it, I'm going to go ahead and be the one to say it. 5,000 people playing the kazoo in one place is domestic terrorism and should be prosecuted as such.
Now, there isn't even a world record for this.
So he could get like 10 people and call it a
just
day.
needs anyone to show up.
Also, is it a bring your own kazoo situation? Have kazoo will travel? Looking for some hired clowns?
Apparently, the guy says he has been chasing a musical dream like this for over 20 years.
That's sad. I hate to say it. I'm not trying to be mean, but if that's your life's dream, my brother, dream bigger.
I don't know what kids need to hear this, but sometimes chasing your dreams isn't all what they're made out to be, you know?
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Is it real? Is it fake? Do we even care? Let's find out.
So we were talking about like insurance scams and insurance fraud, and I thought I would look up some of the craziest insurance claims that adjusters have ever said that they've had come across their desk. And I want to do a real or fake with you here, but there's a bit of a twist. See, I didn't make up any of these stories. 3 of these will be real insurance claims, and the others will be fraud.
Okay.
That was caught.
So did they get away with it or not?
Basically, that's the question. So the start is a Kentucky man claimed hail had damaged his car, causing perfectly symmetrical divots all along the front end and needed replacement.
I'll say that's real because people do the hail thing all the time.
So that is actually fake. The man used a hammer to make all of the individual dents on the car and had to pay a pretty significant fine for the fraud.
That's hilarious.
This one is a farmer lost his phone inside a cow that he was helping to give birth.
Yo!
They found the phone, but insurance did have to buy him a new one as it was ruined beyond repair.
What was he doing with the phone in his hand?
He was using it as a flashlight because it was dark outside.
Please be real. Please be real.
That is a real story.
That's so messed
of
up.
A man in the States who lost the phone inside the cow.
Imagine if he was on video mode. Oh, my God.
Homeowners in Ottawa found bats living in a sealed attic in their home, along with 2 to 3 feet of solid bat poop, which would seep through the structure. Real or fake?
I'm going to say that one's fake.
That is real. The insurance company had to pay for a full rebuild because there was so much guano in the house, in the walls, and in the ceiling.
That's the real Dark Knight.
That is the real Dark Knight.
Oh, my God.
A man claimed a car and house fire happened simultaneously while he was cooking. Said that a pan caught fire. He tried to put it out with a dish towel. The dish towel started a kitchen fire. He got the pan and threw it out the door, thinking it would land in the driveway or somewhere, and it unfortunately landed right in the front window of his car.
That sounds so stupid that I'm hoping that it's fake.
It is insurance fraud. Yes, this man burned his car and his house to try and get some new free stuff and came up with a Three Stooges script to explain it all.
Or he was just really bad at cooking and messed up and tried to use it as an even better excuse.
Let's do one more.
Okay.
An elderly man on a cruise got seasick and threw up overboard, losing his dentures in the process, and filed a lost luggage claim.
Real?
Not only real, but the man got his free set of dentures because the policy claimed that they were not his actual teeth, and so therefore they were part of his belongings.
Yeah.
And so he got free teeth.
Damn. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, he brought them with him.
It's just hilarious to call your dentures luggage.
At that point, you're taking them everywhere you go.
That's true.
They're not going with you. You're bringing them.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There's a good chance that before these last 4 months, you may have not heard the word tariffs or at least not understood what it meant, but it's all anybody's talking
Hear it
about.
every day, I feel like.
Canada is targeting the U.S. with what they're calling retaliatory tariffs, putting them in place as a response to America. And a list of the things that we're putting tariffs on has been released. Someone went through, because the government is saying, we're going after billions of dollars worth of goods from America. We're hitting them where it hurts. But it turns out similar to when you would write an essay in school and you'd throw in a lot of words.
There's a lot of filler in there.
My brother, have you ever bought manatee meat before?
Is that on the list?
Manatee meat being imported from the States into Canada is being slapped with a tariff now. If you are a manatee meat purchaser.
Are there any restaurants that this is affecting? Right?
Is there anywhere locally that a guy can go get a good bowl of manatee? Who's buying this?
What else is on the list?
Also on the list, meat from animals like primates is on there as well, just in case you were wondering.
I mean, I thought that was illegal, but...
apparently you can, but at a cost. Flamethrowers. Also on the list.
Like the Elon Musk ones?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So if you've been thinking about trying to burn off some brush or maybe the last remnants of winter.
You wanted to do some arson? Yeah.
You got to get a Canadian flamethrower. Otherwise, you're going to pay more money.
What else they got?
Bovine semen.
We want only Canadian
That's right.
bovine splooge.
If you are importing your bovine semen from America, be prepared to pay the price.
Yeah, I better have dual citizenship, all right?
Also, clothing made with asbestos fibers is being tariffed.
Why?
Who's buying that?
Is that a thing?
I didn't realize. Everything I've ever been taught in my 41 years is that asbestos is incredibly bad for you, and to find it would be a tragedy. But if you're buying it from the States in clothing form, be prepared to pay an arm and a leg.
Slow your roll. I see how you're dressed. You know nothing about fashion, my guy.
This is a Brock and Dalby podcast exclusive.
We had to cut it for time for the show, but there are so many more things on this list. Can I tell you some more?
Fire some off.
Fake beards, eyebrows, eyelashes, and wigs. Basically all fake hair from the States.
Actually, I get that. The fake beard. What? Wait, what?
Wigs is one thing, but if you want a beard wig, you're going to have to pay more.
I mean, I was going to say I get it because Courtney does hair extensions. She used to order hair from the States. Yeah.
Toilet seats and toilet brushes from the States. Going to cost you extra as well. Emus, just straight up, if you wanted to buy an emu from the States, that'll cost you some more money. Satellites and spacecraft. If you wanted to buy your own Tesla rocket...
Is this just for rich people, some of these?
I don't know, but also at the same time, then there's also snuff.
Snuff?
Yeah, dip.
Oh, yeah.
If you buy your lippers from the States, then you're going to be charged extra for that.
Your cancer can only be spread from our stuff.
Traveling circuses. If the circus comes to town and they're American, they have to charge more because it's part of the tariff.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. They're like performers kind of thing. I thought you were going to say actually buying circuses.
Well, I suppose probably if you're trying to buy a big top, I can't imagine that's going to come any cheaper in this economy. Oh, and one last one. And this I know hits home for you.
Yeah.
Accordions.
Accordions.
American accordions being slapped down with tariffs. The accordion industry in shambles.
Polka night is for Canadians only is something I've never heard in my entire life.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Apparently, this past weekend in Ontario, over 380,000 people were left without power in the province due to the huge ice storm there, which is pretty scary. I mean, you got to think about how many people do you think had their in-laws over this weekend?
Oh, my God.
Who lost the power and had to be stuck with them?
I think if you were smart and planning ahead, if you saw all the news stories about an ice storm coming, you canceled a lot of those plans for exactly that reason. Another thing about staying safe is making sure annoying people won't be at your house if it all goes downhill.
Even families alone that had no power this weekend, it must have been a nightmare for some of them, especially your kids are used to just watching Netflix all day, whatever it is.
I mean, that's just it. I can only imagine in our house, which we're a 5-person family that really does get along really well. We're lucky that way. But if the power had gone out for the duration of the weekend, we might only be a family of 4 now.
Your kids just started going through puberty. What a mess.
It's the whole Lord of the Flies.
Someone probably had a wedding this weekend and the power went out.
Dude, you just call it off.
That's
at that
the
point.
sign that it's not meant to be.
If you're standing there, you're in your tux or you're in your gown or whatever it is, and you're getting ready to marry the person you think is the love of your life, and a giant tree falls down on a power line, ripping the transformer off the pole
It's
outside,
a sign.
You go, okay, God, I get it. I'm going home.
The opposite, you're in court for divorce. You're like, they're telling us it's not meant to be. They're telling us it's meant to be.
They can't process the documents because the power is out. Babe, this is our chance to just to put it all back together.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
With the huge power outage in Ontario this past weekend, we asked you what would be the worst place to get stuck or who would be the worst person to get stuck with. We didn't even think elevators.
No, I mean, that's the first one that probably should come to mind. It's probably the place most people find themselves stuck. I think I would be okay if I was alone. As soon as you put another person in there, now I'm annoyed.
Depends who you're stuck with.
That's the biggest thing.
We got James on the phone. What do you think, man?
Personally, I was thinking, like how some of the pumps nowadays, you have to prepay for your gas.
Yeah.
Imagine, right, as you prepay, you go to pump, power shuts right up.
Oh, I'd be pissed. I'd be so pissed.
You go inside the store, crisp 20 on the counter. Here you go, sir. $20 on pump 3. And you're strutting back, and all of a sudden,
I couldn't even imagine that.
A few people saying just being at work in general.
yeah, that would just suck.
Especially if the boss makes you stay. Or if you work for Hydro, oh my God, your day just got way worse.
Well, that's just it. Now you're in overdrive overtime. And then also, if you're working like by yourself at like a gas station or something like that, you basically just became hired security. Mm-hmm. Your job is now to protect the store.
You're also the first person to tell people the power's off at home.
That's true. People come in looking for gas. What's wrong? Sorry, power's out. Oh, no.
We got Ashley on the phone. What do you think?
In a school with kids, and I mean like elementary school, public school age kids, because they don't like when the power goes out. I've been told by my youngest that little girls scream when the lights go out. So
being a teacher at school without the power on, oh my God.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
You can't even put on Bill Nye the Science Guy just to shut them up.
Trying to keep them all wrangled up too. No, thank you.
Right, kids, we're going to play an hour-long game of Heads Up, 7-Up. So everybody get real quiet.
And just hope they fall asleep.
What would be the worst place to be stuck without power?
Gotta say a strip club. That'd just be greasy.
Oh, the emergency lights come on in there? Oh, God.
And you get to see everything. No, I'm not about that.
Here's the question. You're in the strip club. The emergency lights come on. That's not a lot of light, but it's enough for you to make your way to the door. Do they keep dancing? I mean, if I can still see, no one's paying in debit. I have coins and bills. I can still pay for this.
Some of them might actually be into it, more of a red light instead of their normal purple or yellow or whatever.
If it's halfway through a song, do you get a refund?
Oh.
Only if you're in the back behind the curtain.
Yeah.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is plenitude. Yep, plenitude. 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 And it's a state of being full or complete or abundance. And it sounds kind of like my garden last year with my weed plant. Holy cow. Anyways, that just about does it. Have a great one. Cheers.
Plenitude.
I really like his example, to be honest.
I mean, it's perfect. I mean, you can use it if you've had too much food, your plenitude.
Well, I buy shirts in a larger size because I have a plenitude of midsection.
Yeah.
I'm not fat. I'm just plenitude.
I also think you could just use it in a fun way. Like if your kids are acting up, you got plenitude right now.
Start mangling the word.
If your kid's full of attitude, you say they're plenitude.
You're plenitude right now, and I'm about to send you to your room until you deal with it.
You better knock that plenitude off.
You're about to have a plenitude of problems.
Plenitude. Use it wherever you can today, all right?
Want to be a part of the podcast?
Leave a message on the Bad Line.
The Bad Line is the answering machine for the Brock and Dalby Show.
To get the number, text the word BAD to 762-555.
Thanks for listening to the Brock and Dalby podcast.